Hello friends, in this video I will be talking about comparison of a company's liquidity measures with its peer companies. Before we begin this topic, I would like you to know that all these ratios which we will be studying now have been covered in the subject FRA. So if you've done FRA, this should be very easy for you. If you've not yet read FRA, it is still okay. I have covered everything here. So let's begin. So I've just written in the start itself, this section is all about liquidity ratios. We have studied it in FRA, but let's revise it. We will find liquidity ratios and compare the peers based on those ratios. Meaning, if there are two companies, let's say company A and company B, which one has better liquidity or which is a better company overall, we need to decide that. So what we can do is, we can compare ratio of A with ratio of B and make some conclusion out of it. So this is what we are going to do. Our goal is to determine the liquidity status of a company and its ability to repay its debt obligations. See, every company which has borrowed or which has taken some credit has to be able to repay it off. So we will try to decide which company will be better to repay those debt obligations. Their ability will be checked here. You need to focus more on interpretations. Now after every ratio I have listed down some interpretations which you need to know. So we can begin. So we can start with liquidity ratios. First two ratios are in front of you, current ratio and quick ratio or acid test ratio. We can begin with current ratio. So you can see the formula. Current ratio is nothing but current assets upon current liabilities. Now what is included in current assets and current liabilities? Let's understand. Current assets may have cash, it may have short term investments, it can have debtors which we call accounts receivables, it may have inventory and any other current asset, like we can say some prepaid expenses, advances, etc, etc. What are included in current liabilities? So majorly current liabilities में आएगा trade payables or accounts payables, then there can be some outstanding expenses, etc, etc. So when we find current assets upon current liabilities, we get something known as current ratio. Now we will learn the interpretations in the next slide. First, let's just focus on the formula. Now the next one is quick ratio or acid test ratio. Now by quick, we mean that we'll be taking quick assets. Current assets and quick assets are quite different. There is one small difference and denominator में तो same है, current liabilities. Now you may find in some books like in our Indian curriculum that quick ratio is quick assets upon quick liabilities. Now let's keep it aside. Our CFA curriculum says quick ratio is quick assets upon current liabilities. So what are quick assets? Quick assets, cash होता है quick asset, meaning it is very much liquid. Next, short term marketable securities, even these are liquid. If I sell any security in a day or two, I get my money back. And receivables, your debtors whom you've made credit sales, if you call them and they might pay you in a day or so. So these three are quick assets, meaning they can be turned into cash quickly. Now if you've noticed, I have not considered inventory here. Inventory will not be a quick asset. Why is it so? Because it is doubtful whether it can be converted into cash quickly or not. It can be, but it is a bit slower than these three: cash, short term marketable securities and receivables. And you divide it by current liabilities again. So these are the two ratios. These are rather the first two ratios. There are three other ratios also. Now let's study the interpretation. First interpretation: higher the current ratio and quick ratio, better is the ability of the company to cover its current liabilities like trade payables, outstanding expenses, etc. This makes sense because if you've noticed, current ratio is current asset upon current liability. Higher the ratio, meaning current assets should be more than current liabilities. Let's say current assets are 200 million and current liabilities are 100 million. So my ratio is 2 times, meaning I have double the amount of current assets. So if current liabilities are 100 and my current assets are double that amount, so I have good amount of current assets to repay my current liabilities. So higher the better. Next, working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. We have studied this in FRA. So if current assets minus current liability is working capital, so if working capital is 0, that is current asset is equal to current liability, then current ratio will be equal to 1. So this is one interpretation which we can make. If CA minus CL is working capital, and if the question says working capital is 0, if the working capital is 0, it means current assets and current liabilities are the same. And if CA and CL both are the same, then your current ratio will be 1. तो इट इज़ मैथमेटिकल, दोनों करंट एसेट्स एंड करंट लाइबिलिटीज को 100 ले लो, 100/100 will give you 1. So remember this interpretation. Next, quick assets are those assets which can be quickly converted to cash. It does not include inventories since it takes time to sell the stock and recover cash compared to other current assets. What are these other current assets? एक है cash, एक है शॉर्ट टर्म मार्केटेबल सिक्योरिटीज एंड एक था अकाउंट्स रिसीवेबल्स और डेटर्स. If current ratio is equal to 2 and inventory is equal to 2 times current liabilities, now focus on this equation. If current ratio is 2 and inventory is 2 times current liabilities, then quick ratio will be 0 since cash, marketable securities and receivables will be 0. You can mathematically prove this if you remember the formula. I'll note it down here. Current assets upon current liabilities. Now current assets में क्या क्या आएगा? Cash आएगा, short term marketable securities, receivables, inventory. Let's say these are the current assets and it will be divided by current liabilities. Current liabilities का एक equation दिया है question में. Inventory is 2 times current liabilities, meaning in my equation here, if inventory is 2 times current liability and then we have other assets, divide by current liability. Don't you think to get my current ratio equal to 2, current liability और current liability cancel हो जाएगा, assuming all the other current assets are 0. Meaning if I want current ratio equal to 2 and my inventory is double the amount of current liabilities, it means that all the other current assets are 0. Now if all the other current assets are 0, quick ratio will be 0 because quick ratio का numerator क्या है? It is cash plus marketable securities plus receivables. So numerator is 0, that is why quick ratio will be 0. So these are some interpretations you need to know. Let's solve a question. There's a note, be careful while comparing two companies. Do not blindly apply the rule, higher the current ratio, better is the company's liquidity position. See, this rule is true. Higher the current ratio, better is the position. But you need to check other factors also, which I have covered in this example. If company A's current ratio is 2 and company B's current ratio is 6, then don't directly judge that company B is better. See, normally when I'm comparing two companies, तो जिसका current ratio higher है, that should be better normally. But in this question, I have shown you a scenario where that might not be true. What if these current ratios are found over these years? Let's say 2017, 2018, 2019 and 2020. 4 years का current ratios दिया है कंपनी ए का 1, 1.2, 1.8 and 2. So basically in the question this year has been given to you. And B is 9, 8, 7 and 6. See, now you cannot blindly say that company B is better in terms of liquidity. If you've noticed, company A's current ratio has been increasing. 1 say 1.2, 1.2 say 1.8, 1.8 say 2. Whereas company B's current ratio has been falling 9, फिर 8, फिर 7 and then 6. So blindly saying that company B is better than A would not be true. In this case, it looks like company A's liquidity position is quite, at an improving stage compared to B. We can conclude that company A is improving its liquidity position as compared to B. So this can be one conclusion. So you need to look out for some more factors like these. Now, let's study next two liquidity ratios which are regarding receivables and payables. Receivables matlab debtors and payables matlab creditors. So let's study the first ratio which is known as receivables turnover ratio. Receivables turnover means credit sales upon average receivables. You all must be very well aware of credit sales. Those sales for which cash has not been received on day one, but some credit period has been given, let's say 30 days or 90 days or whatever. Divide by average receivables. Average receivables क्या होता है? If you have balance sheet of 2019 and 2020, let's say 2019 end पे your receivables were 100 and 2020 के end पे your receivables were 200. Opening is 100, closing is 200. इसका average क्या होगा? 100 plus 200 divided by 2, 150. This is nothing but my denominator here, average receivables. Now let's assume credit sales जो है ये साल में 1500 का credit sales था. You divide by average receivables of 150. Your answer is 10. Now how do you interpret 10? So 10 is nothing but receivables turnover. What do you mean by turnover? Turnover is nothing but when you create receivables and you collect cash out of them. So basically 10 times in a year I have created some receivables and I have collected cash out of them. So 10 is nothing but a cycle. So receivables turnover is nothing but that amount of time as in number of times I have created receivables and collected cash. Second ratio is number of days of receivables. The name itself has the answer, number of days of receivable, meaning how many number of days those receivables were actually given to pay the amount. So it can be in terms of days like 20 days, 30 days on an average. So whenever I am making a credit sale, I know that this person will take around 30 to 40 days. That is nothing but number of days of receivables. The formula is accounts receivables divided by average days credit sales. Numerator is very clear, accounts receivable, you can directly get it from your balance sheet. Average days credit sales क्या होता है? Average days credit sales is nothing but credit sales divided by 365. Sales upon 365 nothing but per day ka sale. That is what is the denominator. So using that you will get some answer, let's say 30 days or 40 days. How do you interpret that? On an average, every receivable, or we can say every customer, takes 30 to 40 days on an average to pay the amount. There's another formula for number of days of receivables. It is 365 divided by receivables turnover ratio. Receivable turnover ratio जो हमने first step में ढूंढा, that also you can use 365 upon receivable turnover. Your answer would be the same. Second and third ratio, the answer would be the same. I have detailed interpretations in the next slide also. Next, payables ratio. So exactly same like receivables, but whenever we are talking about receivables, there are sales. वैसे ही whenever we are talking about payables, there will be purchases. So payables turnover ratio will be credit purchases upon average payables. Check receivables turnover here. Receivables turnover was credit sales upon average receivables. वैसे ही payable turnover would be credit purchases upon average payables. Now how can we interpret this? Payables turnover is nothing but number of times payables were created and paid off. Next, number of days of payables, that will be accounts payables upon average days credit purchases. If you notice, ऊपर number of days of receivables में it was accounts receivable divided by average days credit sales. Here it would be accounts payable upon average days credit purchases. How do we interpret number of days of payables? It is that number of days which I take to pay off my creditors or my suppliers. And number of days of payables का एक और formula होगा 365 divided by payables turnover ratio, which we found in the first step. Second and third ratio will give you the same answer. वो mathematical derivation ही है एक दूसरे का. So remember these ratios. Now we'll move on to interpretations. Before that, average amounts क्या होता है? Opening plus closing divided by 2. Use closing balance if opening balances are not given. In case if you don't have opening balances, go for closing. Number of days of receivables may be called as days sales outstanding. Now in question you can find this statement, find days sales outstanding. That is nothing but number of days of receivables. Interpretation number 1. Number of days of receivables means time taken to collect the amounts due from debtors. Remember the interpretation. Number of days of receivable मतलब कितने time में पैसा आ रहा है from the debtors. Receivables turnover means how many times accounts receivables are created and collected in 1 year. कितनी बार मैंने accounts receivable बनाए and उससे पैसा collect किया. That is known as turnover. It is a cycle. Similarly, number of days of payables means time taken to pay the amounts due to my creditors, and payables turnover means how many times accounts payables are recorded and paid off in a year. Now there are some more interpretations which will be covered in the forthcoming LOS. So we will be covering this topic in another LOS also. So you can again revise it there itself. Last liquidity ratios are regarding inventory. If you remember, ये receivable turnover was credit sales upon average receivables. वैसे ही payable turnover was credit purchase upon average payable. Similarly, now inventory turnover is cost of goods sold divided by average inventory. तो cost of goods sold क्या होता है? Meaning, see, in terms of formula, if you ask, cost of goods sold will be this: opening stock plus purchase and direct expenses minus closing stock. This is nothing but cost of goods sold. But what does it mean? Whichever goods you have sold, what was the cost for those goods? And COGS divided by average inventory will give you inventory turnover. How can we again interpret it? If you remember, receivables turnover क्या था? Number of times in a year I am creating my receivables and collecting money. Similarly, inventory turnover would be number of times in a year I am creating inventory or I am purchasing inventory and then I am selling it. Number of days of inventory is average inventory upon average days COGS. Average inventory again opening plus closing inventory divided by 2. Average days COGS क्या होगा? तो again average days COGS would be COGS divided by 365, which is COGS per day. How do we interpret number of days of inventory? Just like we interpreted number of days of receivables. Number of days of inventory would be number of days I have inventory in my hand. अगर number of days of inventory 30 है, meaning if I am buying any stock today, it will take 30 days to get sold. नंबर ऑफ डेज ऑफ इन्वेंट्री का एक और फॉर्मूला हो सकता है 365 डिवाइड बाय इन्वेंट्री टर्नओवर रेशियो फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट फॉर्मूला. These are similar ratios just like you studied for receivables and payables. The number of days of inventory is also known as average inventory period, days sales in ending inventory, and inventory holding period. Now again, while solving questions, be careful. Number of days of inventory के और तीन नाम है. It is average inventory period, days sales in ending inventory, and inventory holding period. Formula is the same, but there are four names now. Interpretation: number of days of inventory is the time for which inventory remained with the company, and inventory turnover means how many times inventory is purchased and sold in a year. So these interpretations you should know. Of course, formula you need to know, but remembering only the formulas won't help you. Remembering formulas will, fetch you the right numbers, but interpretation would matter the most for your exam. Thank you guys for watching this video.